overnight. Hillary Clinton making history.
First time in our nation's history that a woman will be a major party's nominee.
Claiming the Democratic nomination with big victories in New Jersey, New Mexico, and California.
Now taking aim at Donald Trump.
Donald Trump is temperamentally unfit to be president.
The billionaire backtracks on his attacks against that judge, responding to criticism from his own party.
I will never, ever let you down.
Trump and Clinton now set for an epic showdown. And this morning, David Muir's exclusive with Clinton on the brink of this historic moment.
Oh my gosh, look at that!
Only on GMA.
Breaking overnight, 5 people killed, more injured after a pickup truck plows down a group of cyclists, hitting them from behind. What we're learning about the person behind the wheel.
The mom caught on camera battling to stop a shocking kidnapping in broad daylight. A man grabs her 13-year-old daughter, trying to drag her out of a dollar store, and the hero who came to the rescue.
And the secret to Steph Curry's success before tip-off. His pre-game rituals finally revealed. What's really behind that dance that gets him ready to sink all those threes?
Live in Times Square. This is Good Morning America.
And Good Morning America, big news as we come on the air this morning. It is official. Hillary Clinton has made history. Now the first female nominee of a major party.
And the New York Post out with this cover calling her the First Lady. And Clinton's family, as you can imagine, so proud. Her daughter Chelsea tweeting she's grateful little girls can grow up knowing they can run for president.
Clinton wrapped it up with a bang, winning 4 of 6 states last night, including just moments ago, the massive prize of California. Her sweeping victory there, a big blow to Bernie Sanders, going to make it hard for him to keep up the fight. Meanwhile, Donald Trump says he's just getting started on Clinton. You saw him there last night. He's promising a major speech taking her on in the next few days.
And in a moment, we're going to have her first interview with David Muir behind the scenes before she made that historic speech. But first, ABC's Cecilia Vega is here with the latest. Good morning, Cecilia.
Robin, good morning to you. As George just said moments ago, Hillary Clinton picking up that big California victory, delivering a serious blow to Bernie Sanders. The stage is now set for a general election showdown. And Clinton says this race for the White House is not about Democrats versus Republicans. She calls it a fight over who we are as a nation.
Hillary Clinton took to the stage to declare victory overnight. Her arms stretched wide, her eyes emotional.
And it may be hard to see tonight, but we are all standing under a glass ceiling right now. Thanks to you, we've reached a milestone. The first time in our nation's history that a woman will be a major party's nominee.
Clinton shattering the more than 200-year-old glass ceiling of American politics. Never before has a woman led a major party in the race for the White House until now. On Twitter, she dedicated the night to every little girl who dreams big, saying, "You can be anything you want, even president." Clinton raking in victories in 4 states, prompting questions about just how much longer Bernie Sanders can stay in the race. Even as he promised to fight all the way to the convention this summer.
We are going to fight hard to win the primary in Washington, D.C. And then we take our fight for social, economic, racial, and environmental justice to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Clinton's push now for party unity. She heads to the battleground states of Ohio and Pennsylvania next week for a general election fight against Donald Trump that is already underway.
When he says, "Let's make America great again," that is code for, let's take America backwards.
We will be hearing that line a lot in the months to come, and perhaps in a sign of what else is to come, we now know that a number of Sanders campaign staff will soon be laid off. His staff expected to shrink by over half half by over the next week, George.
And he's got that big meeting with the president tomorrow. Cecilia, thanks very much. Now to that ABC News exclusive. World News Tonight anchor David Muir sat down with Hillary right before she went on stage last night. He's here now. And boy, David, a lot of emotion in that room.
Oh, there was a lot of emotion, George and Robin. And it was 8 years ago to the day. Hard to believe. But Hillary Clinton was giving that other speech, conceding to Barack Obama. But last night she was back, this time having clinched the math for the nomination and making history. We were with her in a room perched above the crowd. And when she walked in, she had not yet seen the thousands who were waiting. Take a look. I just want to show you this. This is the crowd that is waiting for you.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
So this is 8 years ago to the day that you conceded, and tonight you will go out there
That's
for a
right.
very different reason.
That's right. It's
Is it-
almost hard to take in. It really is.
Is it sinking in?
Oh, this is sinking it in, I can tell you that. It's just an overwhelming feeling, David, really.
I heard you were editing the speech right up until about 30 seconds ago.
That's right, exactly.
Secretary Clinton had been working on the speech all day, in the car moments before driving to Brooklyn, and she revealed to us that former President Bill Clinton had weighed in.
You have talked so often about the unfinished business, not only in this country, but around the world when it comes to women's rights. Is having the first female American president part of that unfinished business?
It is, David. It is, of course, symbolic, but symbols mean something, and symbols often can spark hope and action in people, particularly young people. And I think it will be a real milestone with my nomination for our country, but it will also send a signal around the world.
We asked her if a meeting with Bernie Sanders is now coming. 8 years ago, it was Clinton conceding, meeting with then-Senator Barack Obama, who had just beaten her, quietly meeting at Senator Dianne Feinstein's home.
There were 2 chairs, 2 glasses of water. You were alone in the room.
Actually, 2 glasses of wine, too.
Oh, that helps.
Diane had to pour us both some, California wine.
Have you heard from him yet?
We've continually talked throughout this process, and
But since the math added up for you, have you heard from the president?
we were supposed to talk tonight, but we haven't yet connected. We'll probably do it later tonight.
Has he signaled to you that he's ready to fight the fight for you?
Well, I think he has signaled that he's ready to fight the fight against Donald Trump.
Do you think it's time for a meeting with Senator Sanders?
Well, I'm certainly reaching out. Our campaigns are talking to one another. I want to unify the party.
One step at a time, David, that phone call with President Obama right after she came off the stage.
Right after she came off the stage, they did talk, and she told me, George, that she does see them campaigning, in her words, side by side. We also asked about the VP shortlist, about the FBI and her email, if there's anything coming that could derail her campaign. I also asked, is she ready to debate Donald Trump? And George and Robin, that's when her eyes lit up. And she said, I am not only ready, it will be a singular moment, in her words, in American history.
And we'll see all that on World News Tonight.
Can't wait.
Thanks, David.
See you guys.
Be watching as always, David.
Thanks,
Thank
Robin.
you. And speaking of Donald Trump, he won big overnight as well, facing new scrutiny, though, over those comments he made about a judge. Trump backtracking as pressure from the Republican Party grows. ABC's Tom Yamas is at Trump Tower in New York with more. Good morning, Tom.
Robin, good morning to you. Donald Trump trying to turn the page now. He didn't even mention that judge last night in his speech. He stayed focused on Hillary Clinton, even using a teleprompter. But the issue of the judge is still dogging him.
Overnight, Donald Trump trying to hit the reset button. With primary season over, Trump making new promises.
You're going to see some real good things happen.
Making a pitch to dissatisfied Democrats.
To all of those Bernie Sanders voters who have been left out in the cold by a rigged system of superdelegates, we welcome you with open arms.
But as Trump tries to strike up a new deal, there's still some unsettled business.
Claiming a person can't do their job because of their race is sort of like the textbook definition of a racist comment. I think that should be absolutely disavowed. It's absolutely unacceptable.
Republicans still furious Trump targeted the Mexican ethnicity of federal judge Gonzalo Curiel, who was presiding over one of the Trump University lawsuits, questioning whether, given his heritage, he'd be able to give the billionaire a fair trial.
I'm building a wall, okay?
Senator Mark Kirk of Illinois, in the middle of a re-election fight, withdrawing his endorsement, saying he wants off the Trump train.
too racist and bigoted for the party of Lincoln for me.
Even Ronald Reagan's son, Michael, posting on Twitter, "This most likely would be the first time, if my father was alive, that he would not support the nominee of the GOP." Now, Trump seeming to change his tune, refusing to apologize, but saying in a statement his comments have been misconstrued as a categorical attack against people of Mexican heritage, adding, "I do not feel that one's heritage makes him incapable of being impartial." As for the GOP leader slamming him, Trump saying there's still bad blood because he's the nominee.
They have to get over it. They shouldn't be so angry for so long.
Now, Trump also announcing a major speech on Monday that he says will, quote, be very informative. The topic, an expose on the Clintons. George?
Yeah, responding to her speech from last week. Tom Yamas, thanks very much. Let's dig into this now with Matthew Dowd and John Carl over at the board. And John, let's start out. You do have all the results coming in from last night and across the primaries on that sweeping victory by Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, she goes out with a bang here. 6 states voting yesterday. She wins 4 of them, including the biggest delegate prize of them all, the state of California. Now, by virtually every measure, she ends the Democratic primary process as the big winner. Of course, she has the delegates she needs to clinch the nomination. But even if you take out all of those so-called superdelegates, the party VIPs that votes, she has a big lead over Bernie Sanders. She has won more states than Bernie Sanders, 28 states to 22. And on the popular vote, actual votes, take a look at this, George. She has nearly 4 million more actual votes than Bernie Sanders.
It's hard to see, Matthew Dowd, how Bernie Sanders can figure out any way to keep on fighting.
No, I don't think he can. I think people have to just give him a few days, just like Hillary Clinton in 2008. It took her 4 or 5 days when she ended the process, and then she finally came to the conclusion Barack Obama's it. She's got to have a few days to process it and move on.
Meantime, in the speeches last night from both Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, a real preview of the fight ahead.
Absolutely. A preview both in substance, but also a preview in tone. I was struck by Donald Trump's talk last night on the teleprompter. It was almost as if he was like a circus lion who'd been tranquilized because he had bit too many people in the course of this. How long it lasts, I have some doubt that he's going to keep this up, and I think many of the Republicans have some doubt about it.
And John, I do want to ask you about that, because he did have to have a change in tone last night, facing something of a revolt among Republican senators and members of Congress.
He absolutely did. But, George, there is no way that Donald Trump goes through this campaign tethered to a teleprompter. Republican operatives or senior Republicans found last night's speech reassuring. By the way, he talked about immigration without even mentioning his wall, which we believe is the first time he's ever done
that was a surprise. Meanwhile, you're back at the board right now. Let's take a look at where things stand on the electoral map between Hillary and Trump 5 months out.
Well, we're debuting right now the ABC News race ratings, how the race looks starting out. States in blue are the states that lean Democrat. If Hillary Clinton takes those, she already has 262 electoral votes, almost the 270 she needs to win. The states in red are those leaning or solidly Republican. Donald Trump, only 191 electoral votes.
So she starts out with a daunting lead. Give us some sense of how Trump could turn it around.
Well, it's very daunting. Take a look at the map from the 2012 campaign. If he keeps all of the states in red that were won by Mitt Romney, he would still need to win the states of Florida, the state of Ohio, the state of Virginia. These are the Romney states. If he takes Florida, Ohio, and Virginia, he still doesn't have the 270 electoral votes he needs to win. He'd have to win somewhere else, perhaps the state of New Hampshire. So a very steep climb.
So Matt, we saw from Trump last night talking about this major anti-Clinton speech he's going to give. That's going to be part of what could get him there, but it's not enough. What more does he need to do, especially to flip those key states?
Well, he obviously has to prosecute the case against Hillary Clinton over the next 150 days in the course of this, but at some point he's going to have to turn and present to the working class white voters in those states that he has an actual program that's going to help them out economically. Until he does both of those things, he's at a huge disadvantage.
Matthew Dowd, John Carl, thanks very much. Now let's go to Amy with today's other top stories, starting with that crash in Michigan, Amy.
That's right, George. 5 people have been killed, several others injured after a pickup truck crashed into a group of bikers in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Police say the 50-year-old driver hit the group of riders from behind, and he was arrested while trying to flee the scene. Just before the crash, witnesses called police to report that truck was driving erratically. 4 other people seriously injured in the crash. Well, the U.S. military is accusing China of making an unsafe maneuver near a U.S. spy plane over the East China Sea. Officials are not saying just how close the Chinese fighter jet came to the American plane, but it's the second incident in just the last month. The Chinese are demanding an end to U.S. surveillance flights in that region. Well, another incident involving a tourist at Yellowstone National Park. This time, a man is presumed dead after falling into a hot spring at the Norris Geyser Basin. Witnesses say the man strayed about 225 feet off the walkway, where park officials say the water temperature can reach more than 200 degrees. And in the mountains of Canada, an 81-year-old pilot managed to avoid disaster by pulling off a flawless emergency landing right there on that glacier. Even as the plane was losing power, it was not responding. He and his 2 passengers climbed out, left a message for search teams, and crawled on their hands and knees to avoid the crevasses there on the ice. They followed a river down below, took cover, and were found the next day. An 81-year-old pilot survived. Incredible. He can fly my plane any day.
Wow. Pilots are special.
Wow.
All right. Thank you for sharing that, Amy. Now to that kidnapping attempt caught on camera. A man grabbing a 13-year-old girl in Florida, dragging her through a store. Her mother fighting back, as you can see. ABC's Eva Pilgrim is here with more on those terrifying moments. Good morning, Eva.
Good morning, Robin. This morning, that Florida mom is being credited for saving her daughter as a stranger tried to take her from a store. Video showing the mom doing everything possible to keep the would-be kidnapper from getting her 13-year-old.
A brazen kidnapping attack thwarted by a fierce mother, all caught on tape. The whole scene playing out in a Dollar General store Tuesday morning.
I've never seen an instance like this in broad daylight in a public area.
A man is seen shopping and appears to take notice of a mother and her child. Moments later, he grabs hold of that 13-year-old girl, dragging her towards the exit. The teen's mother jumping into action, grabbing the girl, the two fighting over the child as she's pulled through the store. Eventually, the man letting go, fleeing the store, only to be met in the parking lot by an off-duty officer.
Who was off duty had pulled into the parking lot just by chance.
That officer taking 30-year-old Craig Bonello into custody. The man now facing kidnapping and child abuse charges. The mother being applauded for her quick action and the tug of war that saved her child from a would-be kidnapper.
Something kicks in if you're scared your kid's going to be hurt, your child, you got to do what you got to do.
Now, Bonello does have priors. He was not a registered sex offender. The mother and daughter completely rattled, as you can imagine, but otherwise neither physically hurt. Robin and George.
My gosh, that
Oh man, your heart just pounds and you want to just grab him like she did.
That mother bear instinct
kicks in every time.
Did it right. Let's go to Ginger with that flooding in Florida, Ginger.
And you know, Colin is long gone, that tropical storm, but we're dealing with tropical moisture in Florida still. Up to 11 inches combined fell in the last couple of days near central northern Florida. Tampa had close to a half foot. You can see the water rescue is ongoing as of our Tuesday. But this Wednesday, as we started, look, flood watch, Tampa, Fort Myers, Melbourne. And that's because we have a stationary front that's going to kind of drape and stay. It is not going to move much. And that's going to leave you with 4+ inches anywhere in green. You could see some local flash flooding. That is something to watch out for. All right, your local weather is coming up in just 30 seconds. But first, we've got your chilly cities brought to you by Now You See Me Too, rated PG-13.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Horsemen.
I'm actually nervous.
It can be really helpful to picture each other naked.
It's actually picture the audience naked.
Now You See Me Too is the most exciting movie of the summer. It's bigger and better than the first one.
Are you guys ready?
A spellbinding blockbuster.
This is the greatest magic trick ever created.
It's so sensational.
You want to see a thing of beauty?
You won't believe your eyes.
And I hope you were paying attention.
Now You See Me Too, rated PG-13, in theaters Friday.
Good morning, Washington. Getting a break from the humidity today. We'll see a few mid-morning showers. Most of us staying dry, though. Partly cloudy skies this afternoon with gusty winds. Highs will be in the middle 70s. For tonight, clear skies is really going to cool us down. It's going to be downright chilly tomorrow morning. In fact, a few of the suburbs in the 40s, around 55 downtown. Tomorrow, still breezy, but not as gusty as today. Mid to upper 70s can be expected. A little warmer for Friday and a few storms possible on Saturday.
In this image, I want to take you to Rumford, Maine. So take that full and get a good look at the hail that was covering the ground in the Northeast. So anywhere from central Massachusetts up through Maine and New Hampshire, they had severe storms yesterday.
We're coming today.
It's still going. Thank you, Ginger. Coming up, murder mystery. A woman charged with killing her identical twin, accused of driving off a cliff in Hawaii, plunging 200 feet after an argument behind the wheel. Was it murder? Dan and Nancy will join us live.
And Steph Curry on the verge of another title this morning. The story behind, let's see it, that pregame dance. Can you guess what they're singing? And the surprise person inspiring.
I'm telling you, that song gets in you.